and welcome back, everyone, to Day 3 of the International 2015. We're at the halfway mark for the group stages, so lots of things dust has settled a little bit. We have some clear leaders, some lagging a little bit behind, but definitely still the middle of the team, or middle of the group teams. I was going to say middle of the pack teams. I can't get my phrasing right today. It's been a long week already, but middle of the pack teams definitely have a lot to fight over. Of course, I'm your host, William Cho, also known as Chobra, and our three experts or analysts, Cinderin, Merlini, and Winter. Hope you guys are doing a little bit better than I am today, because I'm tripping over all my words already.
You look good.
Well, I'm glad I look good, but I'm not just here for the pretty face, okay? I'm here to talk, Sin. Come on.
All right.
What about you guys? How are you guys? Are you
really
guys
excited for the first match, Secret versus LGD.
That's right.
That's probably the one I've been looking forward to the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to see who's going to take a clear lead in Group A.
Yeah, because they are tied for both 10 points each. As we can see with our standings right behind us, we'll pull that up on screen for all you guys viewing from home. But yeah, LGD and Secret both leading with 10 points. I mean, LGD coming out strong from day one, and Secret a little bit of a slip against Fnatic, but that didn't hinder them afterwards. They just said, all right, well, Secret's back. I mean, welcome back to our game, ladies and gentlemen. They just went through the drafts and whatnot. Got a lot of their signature heroes. Now they have 10 points with the same record. So here, if either team 2-0s, that's just going to put them in the clear lead for sure. And if they tie, well, that's also an exciting storyline going into the bracket stage as we move onward next week. In Group B, a bit of a closer group, we could say. I mean, EG now finally edging out with 8 points. They definitely seemed a lot more on point on day 2. What do you guys think about EG right now?
The way they played when they played their best, I think they're definitely showing why they're expected to go top 4. So if they can keep that up, and also their drafting has been really cool, refreshing, very different. And you know, going into a major tournament, PPD always has some plans, and we saw one of them yesterday. They if you will, burnt a strategy with the Enchantress offlane. To get a key victory over Vici Gaming. I think that's definitely a team that's worth burning a strategy on.
Yeah.
So they know what they're doing.
Yeah, and that puts Vici at a 1-2-1 record. So already Vici now having to fight a lot if they want to get back into the top 4, or maybe they might even risk like fighting for 4th, 5th if everyone kind of ties with them. We might have some of those situations. What about you, Ben and Winter? Ben, any teams that really stand out to you? Of course, yesterday we discussed Newbie, kind of surprising everyone by taking games off of the strongest teams in their group.
Yeah, I think they can actually 2-0 some teams with the way they've been playing. And again, just not many teams have been prepared for the way that they played. It looks like they play very standard, though. I wouldn't, like, if I just look at their replays without any of the names, you'd be like, oh, this is just a normal 6.84 strategy. But the way they play is still, still shows why they were TI4 champions.
Right on. And Winter, what about Team Empire? Not looking so strong yet, going into halfway point of the group stages, and MVP Hot 6 also having some trouble finding their footing here at TI5.
I think Team Empire has an issue that Team Secret and Team EG that didn't have it, because if you look at the first series, I think Team Secret and Team EG showed why they are the strongest teams in the whole pack, because of how quickly they adapt and they fix problems. They ran into issues in the first day, and it just took them like one day or maybe even the second series. They immediately fixed their problems. Whereas you look at teams like Empire and teams like IG, when they have a rough series, the next series you don't see as much improvement in them. Whereas they maybe need a longer time, maybe a day. The next day they would be able to fix certain problems. But for Secret and EG, when I look at their games and their first series and I compare the games on the same day, there's a lot of improvements in drafts and in playstyle within the first day itself. So I think that's something worth noting, that how fast they adapt and fix their problems.
That's a really good point. Hopefully we see more of that today as we go forward. And again, something to look forward to between our very first match, LGD and Secret. But before we go into day 3, of course, I mean, day 1 was packed with exciting games, but day 2 was no letdown. We have some highlights from defining moments of day 2. The very first one is in C9 versus Fnatic. And this, I mean, more than anything, just showing that C9, they definitely started the day a lot better than they did on day 1.
Yeah, they went back to a couple of their comfort picks for Fata. This game, we're going to see his Dragon Knight. The game before this was his Beastmaster, and they also go for the support Pugna. Or in this case, actually, it was an offlaner for Bone 7, I think, in this particular game. And yeah, they definitely stepped up their game. It seemed like they were like, okay, guys, yesterday was a bad day. We need to shift gears. We are aiming for the top 4 spot in the group stage. So today we have to peak, and so far so good.
Yeah, this was a matchup we discussed quite heavily yesterday as the day kicked off, just on if Fnatic gets that lead. I mean, they rolled over Secret in the early game. If they can do it against Secret, they can definitely pull off against C9, but C9 didn't let that happen. Got those 3 points rather that they needed to kick off. Definitely a pretty sick moment in the early half of yesterday's games. We'll see that right here as we see C9 going up against Secret. And we have a nice little steal from Rubik here. Rubik getting that RP.
Kuroki is incredible when it comes to positioning with his Rubik. He's, you know, this is something I was talking about yesterday when it came to, I think that was actually what I was talking about Cloud9 compared to teams like Secret and EG, how Secret and EG are just that bit better at thinking one step ahead. And you just see, it's also something I think S4 has said in, I think he said in an interview that the way they play and the way they approach the game before they do, and they prepare for it. So in this case, what's the worst thing that can happen? We're clumping up in Roche, we get RP'd. What's our counterplay? We put Rubik outside, we let them RP us, because then we turn that bad play into a good play for us, and bait C9 into a bad position.
Right on. And as we're talking about that, we go forward. We had a couple, 2 games of Techies yesterday, and Complexity just completely dominating with Techies against IG. We saw some of these highlights yesterday. Quite a few kills with those mines. Winter, what are your thoughts on Techies already having such a high count in TI5 so far?
I think for this game, it's particularly effective because IG had so many melee heroes. That's like a huge thing. Like against Techies, you want to have the right heroes to demine or destroy his mines around the map, and his remote mines and the land mines as well.
Oh!
But usually you see either illusion-based heroes or like Zeus, for example. But they have nothing in their lineup that deals with mines as well.
Yeah, and this is a scene we talked heavily about yesterday, Ben. I mean,